Welcome to the Investor's Guide of Memphis Real Estate. I am your host, Dean Harris, and as always, I'm with Douglas Skipworth. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing great.
We're bringing you this podcast, guys, to give you the boots on the ground knowledge to be a successful real estate investor here in Memphis, Tennessee. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spotify. You can go watch us on Facebook. Wherever you listen to your podcast, please check us out. Show sponsors are listed on your screen below: Corlin Financial, CrestCore Property Management, Triumph Construction, Local Title, and then Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer. We couldn't do this show without those show sponsors. We couldn't run our personal rental businesses without those guys. So please like and subscribe to those guys as well. I help buyers and sellers every day. If you have any questions in Memphis about any real estate, Dean at CrestCore.com. If you own anything or you're looking to buy anything, we'll get you set up on our buyers program. Yeah. So today, we're going to dive right into this. What's keeping you from buying your first rental? I get that a lot. I get a lot of questions about, hey, I can't get off the fence here. I'm
analysis paralysis.
Yeah,
I
I'm
see that all the time.
Spreadsheeting the thing to death. And, what is that? I'd like to just talk for a few minutes today on what is keeping you from getting, into that first deal, other than just your own mindset. And we can talk about that as well. But, one of the things that comes to mind first when people talk about funding. I don't have the money, right? Everyone is not running around with pockets full of cash to start investing in real estate. I understand that. So there are, the most popular question is funding. How am I going to pay for the rental house, right? So if there's some questions about that, what are some of the things you think of? If you're talking to somebody and they're wondering what do we do? It's like funding, like, there's a ton of options for funding. That should not be a stumbling block. Right. That should not be an obstacle or a hurdle or an excuse or anything, because there's plenty of bankers. There are plenty of hard money lenders. Yeah. There are opportunities to get the money that you need. No doubt about it. No, and that's so then the question to me is like, how are we getting through that? How are we overcoming that? So if you're in a position now where you're saying, hey, the only thing that's keeping me from buying a rental home is funding or cash, what do we do? Well, we can help you on that. That's an easy problem. Get another way like that's an easy problem to solve. But everybody out there thinks it's not. That's right. They think it's a major issue, and like, what am I going to do? We're sitting here going, wow, that might be the easiest portion. That might be the easiest portion. We got a show sponsor, Corlin, who you mentioned, but we got banks in town. There are so many options for money and financing. That shouldn't be the challenge. Understand that it is a crucial piece. Yeah. We've always said the three pieces: deals, financing, and management. So it's like financing is a huge piece. Yes. But we can help you solve that problem. 100%. So my advice would be then go to a bank. I don't mean to a mortgage company necessarily. Yeah. Go to your local bank or a bank here. Ask some questions. Yeah. Listen, this is what I'm looking to do. Where am I? If you already know you have terrible credit and you're aware of this, then let's skip this. Let's come to Corlin. Go to hard money lenders. Yeah. See, there's a way to do it no matter what. So no matter what. That's right. And if you're unaware of your real credit history or situation, I'd be shocked at that if you're looking at investing in real estate. But if you're not, go talk to a banker. Have them pull it. Figure out what they can do internally first, because that's the most traditional and best route to take. But we're answering the question of I don't have cash and I don't have credit. So what do we do? So I guess in the pyramid of this, it's I have cash, no problem. Okay, you're a buyer. Cash is king. Cash is king. I've got plenty of it. You're the first tier. We'll help you find deals. You're the first tier buyer. You're the easiest to find a home for because you have the least amount of hurdles. Okay, that's right. The second, congratulations to you, the one viewer out there. No kidding, because there's not a. So the second tier would be the person who has some cash and good credit. Yes. Okay. Because if you got some cash and good credit, we can get you a loan at pretty much any bank traditional loaning outfit, right? You're born on third base. That's a great analogy. All right. The next one would be, I guess I've got credit. Good credit. But I'm broke. Yeah. Okay. We can get you a loan there. There's ways to get a loan there. Absolutely. Cash flow from the property goes towards your income. That 100%. So now the next tier down would be, I have bad credit, but I got a little bit of cash. Okay. Bad credit and a little bit of cash might work at a bank, but I doubt it. Yeah.
you're going to be teetering on working with a bank and working with a private lender or a hard money lender. You're
Gladly.
You're going to be right in the middle. It depends on how bad the credit is if a bank goes with you and the cash. And then, or we toss over here and we're working with private money or hard money.
Yep.
Okay. The next tier down, and I think this might be the bottom tier down, is no cash and no credit.
Yeah.
Well, I got news for you. We can get a loan there too. If you've got a property and you've got a home or a deal somewhere, it's a deal. And I shouldn't, let me rephrase that. It's not a property and it's not a home. If you've got a deal, we can get you a hard money loan and find financing for it. So I answered all.
That's really good.
I answered the whole gamut of the types of buyers that we deal with. And in every circumstance, there's a way for you to buy a home.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the funding issue shouldn't be there. Number two, the knowledge. Like we've figured out the funding part. Now we're coming into educating ourselves on. My notes here is, we shouldn't have plenty of education, mentor types, podcast, books, whatever you might recommend. I'm not big on seminars. A lot of people say, hey, let's go pay 10 grand and go listen to this guy tell me about this. I'm not, why don't you give me 5 and
you can,
or better yet, just give me $1,000 and we'll talk for an hour. I can pretty much give you a seminar.
Yeah. Or just spend 5 and put it in a property and you'll learn.
And you'll learn way more from there.
And you'll probably get your money back.
So going back to knowledge, let's break that down just a tad. What's the first thing you think about?
Well, I mean, I think that's good the way you did that, because I think of I go back to we often reference The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. Mm-hmm. And it's the big part of being a millionaire real estate investor is the first number one is to think like a millionaire real estate investor and get your mindset right. You just alluded to it. So, I mean, there's a lot to it, because I think we said, what's keeping you from your first deal? It's really who's keeping you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's really the mindset. It's really the thing, because there are other people who are doing their first deal this year.
Yes.
If you're not, what's keeping you? It's really who's keeping you. And it's the mindset. It's the knowledge that you're talking about right here. Fred Smith is near and dear to our hearts, because we're in Memphis and FedEx he's a FedEx founder. And he has this quote that he's like, man, you are where you are because you're accepting where you are. And you're like, oh man, often we hear that, but it's like, if you really reflect and look in the mirror and say, hey, physically, I'm where I am because
I'm okay with it.
Because I'm okay with it. Or financially, I'm where I am, or relationally, or spiritually, or professionally, you are where you are because you're accepting it. So we're okay with that, because we want to move people into the knowledge, into the mindset of like, okay, how do you get to make that deal? So we mentioned Millionaire Real Estate Investor. It's a great book.
Is that where you would start? Is that where you? I love the. Well, I don't know.
Rich Dad Poor Dad is a great place.
Yeah,
I mean, Gary Keller's like, man. Gary Keller said Robert Kiyosaki wrote 2 great books: Millionaire Real Estate Investor and Cash Flow Quadrant. Yeah. And I agree. Those things are awesome. They're foundational. I refer to them all the time. Because it's all about accumulating asset, working your asset column. And that's what I'm teaching my kids now that my kids are my family. That's what we talk about. We talk about assets, passive income. How do you grow your balance sheet? How do you measure your net worth? The net equity you've got. That's the conversation we have. Like, job's good. You got to keep your day job and mind your own business. That's chapter 3 of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Keep your day job, mind your own business. So it's like everybody's got to have something that generates income. Then you got to mind your business.
That's right. No. I think that's fantastic, because that's the knowledge I'm talking about. That's what I'm trying to get out.
And where I was going with that, I forgot where I was going with that. It's like thinking is the first part of the Millionaire Real Estate.
Yes.
Then it's buy $1 million worth of assets.
Yeah.
Then it's own $1 million, have $1 million in equity in those properties. And then lastly is to receive the $1 million. Like, imagine when you have $1 million of cash flow coming. Maybe it's cumulatively over the life of that property, you've collected $1 million in rent. We've got clients at CrestCore Property Management who we've collected over $1 million in rent for them.
That's fantastic.
And at some point you start doing that in a year. You've got a portfolio that has $1 million worth of income in a year,
right?
Of rental income, and then you get it down to the net income. So working. It all starts with think, but then you buy, then you own, then you receive the money. So
knowing and having that knowledge and educating yourself on your ability, I think is half the battle. Like,
yes,
I think let me try to articulate this. I think educating yourself gives you that confidence, which then to me turns into ability.
Yes.
If I know and I have the confidence and I understand what I'm doing, to me, it automatically gives me the ability. I don't realize that until I begin to march forward, but I immediately have that ability, right?
Yeah.
If we just made a new hire here at the brokerage, and one of the questions and one of the thoughts from her was my ability. If I know what I'm doing,
yes,
and I feel confident in what we're doing here, then I'll have no problem exceeding, hitting all the goals and do all that. The main concern was understanding and learning what we're doing, what we're selling, how we're selling, and all those other things that go with it. It's the same thing here. If you'll educate yourself on either product or not, area, whatever it may be, to me, it translates immediately to ability.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
To me, I mean, I could, there's 100 analogies I could use with this. Sports analogies are crazy, but
and I've seen it where it's like that. It's like when you make a commitment to something, that gives you the courage that you need to go pursue it. And once you get the courage, you get the capability, and once you got the capability, you got the confidence, and then you just do it again. But it's all built on like making that commitment and taking the courage to go forward to build your capabilities and your confidence.
That's right.
And you just once you've got a capability or confidence, it's easier to make it the next commitment, which takes courage to build the confidence and commitment. It's an endless, virtuous kind of upward cycle.
I've been selling real estate for 23 years, and I've been selling this product since 11. 12.
So yeah, I knew it was a long
13 years now. Yeah. This happened when I started to sell this product. When I began to buy it, it switched.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, when I began to sell it after I began to buy it, because my knowledge was high, my experience was high, I was actually going through this, it blew up.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers from the beginning of my real estate career until 2015.
You didn't own rentals.
No. And I didn't have near the success that we've had here from 2015 to 2024. We haven't had it. I mean, like, it's night and day difference. I sold as much real estate in these times as 5 times beforehand.
Yes.
Because my knowledge of that product, I knew, all right, I'm going to tell you, this is good. Another area that I succeeded well in this 23-year span was at the very beginning of new construction, because all I did was new construction. But man, I knew new construction.
Yeah.
I mean, I sold the crap out of those houses. All day long sold new construction. I didn't sell anything else.
Yep.
So I didn't have any knowledge or any experience with anything else. But one thing I could talk to you then and still now is about new construction.
Yes.
Okay. So that's kind of what, like, that example there of going through and building that knowledge up all of a sudden gave me the ability at the end of that to move into something else. Building the knowledge of BPOs and things allowed me to move into something else. That's a whole, this isn't a biography show, but you got the point. Like, I didn't really have the ability or supreme ability until I had the knowledge.
And then you had the knowledge and confidence to do it again.
To keep moving.
Just to keep going and build it up. Well, what's next?
So what's keeping you guys from buying your first investment deal? We talked about funding. We went down that chart there. There's zero reason why you can't find funding. Knowledge, we just went through a bunch of ways you can educate yourself. The next and the last would be kind of a side note, sort of, would be the product or location. So, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably decided on your location.
There you go.
Or you're about to.
Yeah. Check out the Zip Code Podcast.
Now you just decided.
Check out the Zip Code Podcast.
But so if you're listening, you probably decided on your location. Now the next might be the product, and that's kind of easy here, in my opinion. It's easier here, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's a single family model, and that's, you and I believe in that, and we've stuck with that. But understanding and knowing what you're out there looking for. And when I was thinking about this, I wrote the word, know what you're hunting for. It's like, I'm not a big hunter, but I have living in the South.
Yeah.
I've got hundreds of friends that are.
Right.
They always know before they go what they're looking for. They don't. Most of my hunters friends don't.
I
go
got
out
a
there
gun.
and go,
Let's go out.
thinking about I'm gonna go out today and I might shoot a duck, a deer, a rabbit, or a turkey. I'm not real sure yet, but we're going to decide when we get out there. That's not how that works. They load up the truck or whatever they're doing. They're going deer hunting or they're going duck hunting or whatever it may be. You're going to decide. That's so to me, I think you need to decide ahead of time what you're going to go hunting for, right? Yeah. What product are we going to go looking for? Let's determine what works best. How do you do that, Dean? You talk to everybody that owns everything.
Yeah.
Right. And you get the good, bad, and the ugly from everybody.
Yeah.
So learning your product and learning where you want to be might be the first. But then once you kind of hone that in, you might want to get specific in Memphis on like, hey, there's 4 areas I want to focus in. That's fine. From a location standpoint, you can micro that down. But to me, it's figuring out what product you want. After you've secured and talked about and gotten over the funding and the knowledge, now it's what product am I going to go after and where?
Yeah. And I think a good thing to think about in this is when you think about like the commercial landlords. We've talked about the Chick-fil-A's and following some of them, thinking about they're doing a ton of research to put their locations around their clientele. So I think whether if you check out the Zip Code podcast, we've done that, and talking to your team, like trying to think about like, who is the tenant that you want in your property? What is that type of tenant you want? Who's going to pay your rent every month? And then go find those neighborhoods for that type of tenant.
See, that's really specific, and that's a great idea, though. That's good hunting.
Yes, that's good hunting. Instead of going like, I just want a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, anywhere. No, it's like, no, what kind of tenant do you want? Let's listen to the podcast. I mean, on that Zip Code podcast, we break that thing down on income, market rent, number of population. So find out where you want to be, and then go look in that area for what you're looking for, because you know what you're doing. I mean, you said it. We believe investing's for everyone. Yeah. We believe that real estate is the best investing.
100%.
And more than that, we believe single family is the best real estate.
And if you're sitting on the couch right now and you're spreadsheeting everything to death and you're wondering how the best way to get started, I'm just here to tell you, I've had this conversation 100 times. You're just going to have to do it. If you're that person that you're sitting there and you've got spreadsheets and I send you a house and you spend 5 hours analyzing it and breaking it down, at the end of the thing, it's every time it's like, I just can't take. You're going to have to figure out a way to just jump into the deep end of it. Because that's your mindset. It's not the deep end you're jumping in. But the mindset of that person is, I've got to just dive into the ocean, middle of the ocean. So just dive in. You can't, because here's what you can't do and what I've learned in sales. You can't get somebody off that mentality of I'm diving in the ocean. You're better off talking them into diving into the ocean.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm not gonna try to convince you that in your mind this is not scary. Diving into the ocean.
This is scary. It can be scary. It can be scary.
I don't feel that way. You don't feel that way, but I understand.
But there's certain things where I have you're absolutely sympathetic to you feeling that way. But you've got lifeguards, you've got buoys, you've got
there's everything out there.
Yes. That can help you. Yeah. And not to mention you're gonna learn so much making offers. Yeah. Inspecting properties. Yeah.
So that's the message is I'm not going to be able to convince you that this is not an ocean we're jumping in. What I am trying to tell you is to jump. Let's go. Yeah. By doing these things, by knowing where your funding's coming from, knowledge about your product and or area, and then your product and location. I mean, once you cover those 3 things, I say jump.
Yeah. And if you utilize your sponsors, the show sponsors, or your team. We've done episodes on team. If you have a team, they're there to support you. 100%. Like you're leveraging that team and their expertise, and you got somebody. Hey, you can talk to Dean, your agent. Yeah. You can talk to Jim, your property manager. Yes. You can talk to Richie, your lender. I mean, you've got all of these people. These are not functions that you use that are nameless, faceless. These are real people that can help you.
Yes.
Alyssa in funding or Caitlin in property management. I mean,
there's names to
Will Griffin.
There's
April.
names to those buoys.
There are names to those buoys and people who are going to help you succeed.
That's right. Great show today. To me, this is a hotter topic than maybe even what we made it. If you have questions, reach out to me. We'll set up a time to talk. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. Anything else to add?
No.
All right. See you next time.